Your life at this very moment is not shaped merely by your circumstances, your past, or the obstacles standing before you. It is shaped by one extraordinary force, your mindset. The thoughts you nurture daily are the architects of your destiny. Every great achievement, every fortune, every remarkable transformation begins first in the unseen world of the mind. Before a person rises to greatness, they must first rise in thought. Before victory appears in reality, it must be claimed in consciousness. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant, fear or faith, doubt or confidence, excuses or determination, will grow and multiply. If you fill your mind with limitations, you will live a limited life. If you feed it courage, vision, and purpose, you will unlock powers within yourself that most people never discover. The difference between those who lead extraordinary lives and those who remain trapped in mediocrity is not always talent, education, or luck. It is often the way they think. A poor mindset says, "I can't." A powerful mindset says, "How can I?" A defeated mind sees barriers. A victorious mind sees opportunities. Every problem carries within it the seed of an equal or greater advantage, but only the trained mind can recognize it. The person who masters their mindset does not run from difficulty. They understand that adversity is often the furnace where strength, wisdom, and success are forged. You must realize that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If you believe you are powerless, life will prove you right. If you believe you are capable of growth, achievement, and greatness, life will begin to align with that belief. This is not fantasy. This is the law of mental transformation. Thoughts become actions, actions become habits, habits become character, and character becomes destiny. Too many people wait for their lives to change before they change their thinking. But transformation works in the opposite direction. You must first change your thinking, and then your life begins to follow. Success starts when you replace fear with faith. The moment you stop asking, "What if I fail?" and begin asking, "What if I succeed?" you shift the entire direction of your life. Your mind must become disciplined. Guard it carefully. Refuse to entertain thoughts of defeat. Do not allow the opinions of others to define your possibilities. The world often rewards those who dare to believe in themselves before anyone else does. Great minds are not created by accident. They are built through daily habits of positive thought, clear purpose, and unwavering persistence. Every morning, you have a choice. You can awaken with doubt, focusing on problems, limitations, and disappointments. Or you can rise with intention, declaring that this day is another opportunity to move closer to the life you desire. Your thoughts are magnets. They attract the experiences that match their energy. Fill your mind with purpose, and your actions will begin to reflect purpose. Fill your mind with ambition, and you will naturally seek opportunities that once seemed invisible. There is immense power in definiteness of purpose. When your mind has a clear destination, your energy stops scattering. The person without direction is easily defeated by distraction, but the person with a burning desire becomes unstoppable. Desire backed by belief transforms ordinary individuals into forces of achievement. You are not imprisoned by your past mistakes unless you choose to carry them as chains. Every setback can become a stepping stone if you decide to learn rather than surrender. The mind that refuses to quit cannot be defeated permanently. Temporary failure is often the price of valuable wisdom. The only true failure is the abandonment of your vision. Surround yourself with influences that strengthen your mind. Protect your ambition from negativity. Feed your mind with ideas that expand your possibilities. Speak words that reinforce strength. Action begins with thought, and when thought is elevated, action becomes powerful. You possess within you the ability to redesign your life by redesigning your mind. The moment you understand that your thoughts are not passive, they are creative forces, you begin to reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become the creator of circumstance. Change your mindset from fear to courage, from doubt to belief, from excuses to action, and you will witness a remarkable transformation. Your life does not improve by chance. It improves when you improve your thinking. Within your mind lies the blueprint of the person you can become. Dare to think greatly, act boldly, and persist relentlessly. When you change your mindset, you do not merely change your thoughts, you change your life. Most people wander through life unaware that the greatest power they possess is not found in their hands, their resources, or their environment. It is found within their mind. The human mind is the master key to success or failure, abundance or poverty, victory or defeat. It is the invisible kingdom from which all visible results are born. If a person wishes to transform their life, they must first transform the way they think, because no individual can consistently rise above the level of their own mindset. You cannot build a palace from a broken blueprint, and you cannot create a powerful life with weak thoughts. Every achievement begins as an idea. Every fortune begins as a belief. Every breakthrough begins when a person dares to reject the limitations of the present and imagine something greater for the future. The mind is not a passive observer of reality. It is the creator of it. What you consistently think about, emotionally believe, and boldly act upon becomes the direction of your life. For too long, many people have accepted conditions instead of challenging them. They see hardship and assume defeat. They encounter rejection and surrender their dreams. They experience temporary failure and conclude they are incapable. But greatness has never belonged to those who surrendered to appearances. It belongs to those who understood that circumstances do not define destiny, mindset does. A person may be born into struggle, but they do not have to remain there. They may face poverty, but poverty of circumstance is far less dangerous than poverty of thought. The true tragedy is not lacking opportunity, it is lacking the vision to recognize or create opportunity. History has proven repeatedly that those who changed the world first changed themselves. They disciplined their minds to focus not on what was, but on what could be. Fear is one of the greatest enemies of transformation. Fear whispers lies. It says you are too late, too weak, too ordinary, too unqualified. Fear magnifies obstacles until they seem impossible. But fear is often nothing more than a shadow created by uncertainty. The bold thinker understands that fear loses power the moment action begins. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something greater than fear must guide your life. When you train your mind to see possibility instead of limitation, your entire world begins to shift. Challenges become lessons. Rejection becomes redirection. Failure becomes education. Every difficulty can either break you or build you depending on the meaning you assign to it. The person with a defeated mindset asks, "Why is this happening to me?" The empowered mind asks, "What is this teaching me?" Your thoughts are seeds planted daily into the garden of your future. Negative thoughts produce weeds of doubt, hesitation, and mediocrity. Positive, disciplined thoughts produce the harvest of confidence, innovation, and achievement. The mind does not care what you plant. It simply grows what you feed it most. Therefore, if you wish to change your life, you must become intentional about what you allow to live in your mind. Guard your thoughts with vigilance. Refuse to become a prisoner of self-doubt. Too many dreams die not because they were impossible, but because they were abandoned by minds that chose fear over faith. The world often mirrors back to you the expectations you hold within yourself. If you expect failure, you unconsciously act in ways that create it. If you expect growth and success, your behavior begins to align with those expectations. The power of belief cannot be overstated. Belief is the fuel of achievement. When a person truly believes in their capacity, they unlock reserves of persistence, creativity, and resilience that remain dormant in others. Belief does not guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees the strength to continue until success is reached. A burning desire combined with unwavering belief becomes an unstoppable force. You must also understand the importance of environment. The mind is shaped by what surrounds it. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, excuses, and small thinking, your own vision can become contaminated. But when you surround yourself with ideas, people, and influences that challenge you to grow, your mindset expands. Association matters. Protect your dreams from those who have abandoned their own. There is extraordinary power in purpose. A mind without purpose drifts like a ship without a compass. It becomes vulnerable to distraction, discouragement, and confusion. But a mind anchored by a clear purpose gains focus. Purpose organizes energy. It transforms scattered effort into meaningful progress. Once you know where you are going, decisions become easier because your mindset is no longer ruled by impulse. It is guided by vision. Discipline is the bridge between mindset and reality. It is not enough to think positively for a moment and then return to old habits. Transformation requires consistency. Daily thought patterns shape daily actions, and daily actions shape destiny. Success is not an event, it is a process. It is built in the unseen moments when you choose growth over comfort, courage over convenience, and persistence over surrender. Do not underestimate the power of persistence. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they quit too soon. The world often tests determination before rewarding ambition. Obstacles are not always roadblocks. Sometimes they are examinations of your commitment. The persistent mind understands that temporary defeat is not permanent failure. It is simply a challenge to become stronger, wiser, and more determined. Your past does not have the authority to dictate your future unless you surrender that authority. Mistakes are lessons, not life sentences. Every successful person has faced setbacks, disappointments, and moments of uncertainty. What separated them was their refusal to allow the past to define the future. They used pain as fuel. They used failure as feedback. They used adversity as preparation. Gratitude is another powerful force that transforms mindset. A grateful mind focuses on abundance rather than scarcity. It recognizes opportunity even in difficulty. Gratitude strengthens faith because it trains the mind to see progress instead of only problems. When you combine gratitude with ambition, you create a powerful balance, appreciating where you are while relentlessly pursuing where you wish to go. The words you speak to yourself matter deeply. Internal dialogue becomes mental programming. If you repeatedly tell yourself that you are incapable, your actions will reflect that belief. But if you declare strength, possibility, and determination, you begin to recondition your subconscious mind for success. Speak to yourself as someone destined for growth. Remember this truth: your mind can be your prison or your pathway. It can trap you in excuses, fear, and limitation, or it can liberate you into courage, creativity, and achievement. The choice belongs to you every single day. You were not designed merely to survive. You were created to grow, achieve, and transform. But transformation begins within. Change the way you think about yourself. Change the way you respond to challenges. Change the way you define failure. Change the standards you hold for your life. When you elevate your mindset, you elevate your decisions. When you elevate your decisions, you elevate your habits. When you elevate your habits, you elevate your destiny. The life you desire is not reserved for a chosen few. It becomes possible the moment you choose to become the person capable of creating it. Your breakthrough begins when your excuses end. Your success begins when your belief becomes stronger than your doubt. Change your mindset, and you will discover that the barriers you once feared were often mental walls waiting to be dismantled. Change your mindset, and you will no longer ask life for permission to succeed. You will prepare yourself to claim it. Change your mindset, and step by step, thought by thought, action by action, you will change your entire life. Within every human being lies a hidden reservoir of power so vast, so extraordinary, that most go through life without ever fully discovering it. This power does not come from wealth, status, or favorable circumstances. It does not depend on where you were born, what resources you possess, or how many times you have failed. This power begins and ends in one place: the mind. The greatest revolution any person can experience is not external, it is internal. It is the moment they awaken to the truth that by changing their mindset, they can change the entire course of their life. The mind is the control center of destiny. It shapes perception, directs action, and ultimately determines results. Every palace first existed in the imagination before it stood in stone. Every invention was once an idea before it became reality. Every great leader, creator. An achiever first won victory in their thoughts before they ever won it in the world. This is why the battlefield of life is not primarily fought in the marketplace, the boardroom, or society. It is fought within the boundaries of the mind. If your mind is filled with fear, you will hesitate. If your mind is consumed by doubt, you will retreat. If your mind accepts limitation, you will remain confined by invisible walls. But if your mind is trained in confidence, fueled by purpose, and strengthened by persistence, there is no obstacle that can permanently defeat you. The difference between success and failure often lies not in ability, but in mental attitude. There are countless individuals who possess talent but never achieve greatness because they lack belief. There are others with modest beginnings, ordinary resources, and significant hardships who rise beyond expectation because they master the psychology of success. They understand one principle that transforms everything: what the mind can consistently believe, it can begin to build. Your circumstances are not your identity. They are merely your current position. Too many people confuse where they are with who they are. A difficult season becomes in their minds a permanent sentence. A temporary setback becomes a final conclusion. But the truth is that no condition has power over a determined mind unless that mind accepts defeat. The strongest chains are often not physical, they are mental. The first step toward transformation is awareness. You must become conscious of the thoughts you allow to dominate your life. Many people unknowingly sabotage themselves through habitual negative thinking. They rehearse failure before taking action. They imagine rejection before making an attempt. They expect disappointment before pursuing opportunity. In doing so, they program themselves for the very outcomes they fear. Your subconscious mind responds to repetition. Whatever thoughts you consistently entertain become instructions. If you repeatedly focus on weakness, your mind strengthens weakness. If you focus on possibility, your mind begins to seek pathways toward possibility. This is why mental discipline is not optional for success. It is essential. Success begins when you assume responsibility for your thinking. Blaming circumstances, other people, or past events may temporarily protect the ego, but it destroys power. Responsibility restores power because it places change back into your hands. The moment you declare, "I have the power to change my thinking," you begin reclaiming control over your destiny. The world often tries to condition people into small thinking. It teaches caution over courage, conformity over creativity, and fear over faith. Many are taught to lower their expectations to match their environment. But extraordinary lives are never built by shrinking vision. They are built by expanding it. You must dare to think beyond appearances. You must believe in possibilities before evidence arrives. Vision is seeing what does not yet exist and acting as though it can. A burning desire is one of the most powerful forces in reshaping mindset. Weak wishes produce weak effort, but a burning desire transforms hesitation into action. When your desire becomes intense enough, excuses lose their power. Comfort becomes less important than growth. Temporary failure becomes less frightening than lifelong regret. Desire energizes discipline, and discipline turns dreams into reality. You must also understand that the mind thrives on direction. If you do not consciously choose your thoughts, the world will choose them for you. News, criticism, fear, and negativity can easily dominate an undisciplined mind. This is why selective focus is critical. Guard your attention. Protect your mental environment. Feed your mind with ideas that strengthen rather than weaken. Read words that expand your vision. Associate with people who challenge your limitations. Repetition of greatness conditions greatness. One of the most dangerous habits is dwelling on past failures. The past can serve one of two purposes. It can imprison you, or it can instruct you. Those who remain trapped in regret often relive defeat. Those who extract wisdom from experience gain strength. Failure is never final unless you interpret it as identity rather than education. Every setback contains information. Every mistake contains instruction. The wise mind asks not, "Why did this happen to me?" but, "How can this make me stronger?" Patience is another essential element of a transformed mindset. In a world obsessed with instant results, many abandon worthy goals simply because success does not arrive quickly. But lasting achievement often requires endurance. Nature itself teaches this principle. Great trees do not grow overnight, and neither do great lives. A disciplined mind understands that success is often the result of sustained effort over time. Persistence creates momentum, and momentum eventually produces results. Your words are powerful because they reinforce thought. Speak carefully. The words, "I can't," "I'm not good enough," or "it's impossible," are not harmless expressions. They are commands to the mind. Replace them with language that empowers action. Say, "I am learning." Say, "I will persist." Say, "I am capable of growth." Language shapes identity, and identity shapes behavior. Gratitude, too, transforms mindset in profound ways. A person focused only on what they lack often operates from scarcity, fear, and frustration. But gratitude shifts focus toward abundance. It reminds the mind of existing strength, opportunity, and progress. Gratitude does not eliminate ambition. It strengthens it by replacing desperation with confidence. Faith is perhaps the highest form of mindset transformation. Faith is the ability to continue moving forward even when immediate evidence is absent. It is the refusal to surrender to appearances. Faith allows a person to endure storms because they believe in a future beyond them. Every major achievement requires faith before manifestation. You must become the architect of your own mind. Build it with purpose. Strengthen it with discipline. Fuel it with belief. Protect it from negativity. Challenge it with vision. The mind, once transformed, becomes a magnet for new possibilities. Imagine what happens when a person truly changes their mindset. They no longer see problems as dead ends but as puzzles to solve. They no longer fear rejection because they understand that rejection often redirects them toward something greater. They no longer define themselves by circumstances because they know their identity is rooted in potential, not limitation. This transformation does not happen in a single day, but it can begin in a single decision, the decision to think differently. Every day offers that choice. Every challenge presents that opportunity. Every setback tests that commitment. The person you become tomorrow is being shaped by the way you think today. If you wish to rise, your thoughts must rise first. If you wish to conquer, your mind must conquer first. If you wish to create a life of abundance, purpose, and significance, you must first cultivate an abundant, purposeful, and disciplined mindset. Change your thoughts, and you begin to change your actions. Change your actions, and you begin to change your habits. Change your habits, and you begin to change your character. Change your character, and you change your destiny. You are far more powerful than you realize, but your power awakens only when your mind does. Refuse to live as a prisoner of doubt when you were created for possibility. Refuse to bow to fear when courage is available. Refuse to accept mediocrity when greatness is within reach. Your life changes the moment your mind does. Think greater, believe deeper, act bolder, persist longer. Master your mindset and you will master your life. There comes a defining moment in every human life when one must decide whether they will remain a product of circumstance or become the architect of destiny. This decision does not begin in the hands, nor in wealth, nor in luck. It begins in the mind. The mind is the workshop in which every dream is either forged into reality or abandoned into regret. It is the birthplace of courage, ambition, perseverance, and transformation. To change your life, you must first change the thoughts that govern it, because no person rises above the boundaries of their own mentality. The life you experience today is in many ways the visible expression of the thoughts you have consistently entertained. Every action is born from thought. Every habit is shaped by repeated decisions. Every achievement or defeat first takes root in the unseen world of the mind. This truth is both sobering and empowering. Sobering, because it means your limitations may often be self-imposed. Empowering, because it means transformation is always possible the moment you choose to think differently. Most people underestimate the extraordinary force of thought. They treat thoughts casually, unaware that every dominant idea acts like a command to the subconscious mind. A person who repeatedly thinks, "I am incapable," "I always fail," or "life is against me," unknowingly trains themselves for hesitation, fear, and defeat. Their own thinking becomes a prison. Yet the reverse is equally true. The individual who conditions their mind with faith, vision, confidence, and persistence begins to unlock abilities they never knew they possessed. Your mind is like a magnet. It draws toward you the opportunities, relationships, and outcomes that align with your dominant beliefs. If your mind is consumed by fear, you will often notice danger more than possibility. If your mind is focused on growth, you will begin to see pathways where others see obstacles. This is why two people can stand in the same storm and emerge with entirely different futures. One broken by adversity, the other strengthened by it. The difference is not always in the storm, it is in the mindset. Adversity itself is not your enemy. In many cases, adversity is life's greatest teacher. Hardship has introduced countless individuals to strengths they would have never discovered in comfort. Difficulty often forces innovation. Pain often awakens purpose. Setbacks often redirect people toward greater